and I'm an artist from Keighley, which is part of the Bradford district in West Yorkshire. At the minute I'm exploring painting and mixed media painting in relation to cognitive behavioural therapy. But I've done other stuff in the past. I've explored installation and film and a bit of performance and stuff. But that was when I was a lot younger. And I feel like I'm an emerging artist right now, like I've kind of come back to it because I studied art when I was younger and I always loved art since being a small child. Growing up and going through school, a lot of that was mainly, for me, just painting. Or not even painting. When I was at school, it was mainly like just drawing. And then I was sort of desperate to leave school, and when I did and I got to college, they introduced me to painting properly. I did a fine art AVCE at Craven College in Skipton, and it was amazing because they basically gave you a taster of different things. I loved it all, I really did love it all. And also like photography, I could have easily have really got into that, like it's really addictive. But the painting, I don't know what it is, I just felt like the kind of tactile nature of it, and I just found it very instinctive for me. And it's accessible. I think I did things at uni. I did a lot of film things and installation, but then, so after I was poorly, I had TB after uni, and I didn't know I had it for a while, so it really did take quite a long time to get diagnosed and then to recover from. It kind of has like lasting, it affects everyone differently, so I had quite a lot of like long-term things. And that meant I had quite a lot of time sort of not being able to do much. And then after it, I kind of felt like I had to, I don't know, prove that I could be independent and look after myself, like someone who isn't poorly, and get like a full-time job and stuff. And I never gave myself the time to do my art. But in the last few years, different things have happened. Haven't been able to work for different reasons. And I've sort of rediscovered my art again. And so I'm feeling incredibly lucky right now and very happy because I just feel myself again. I think, I don't know how I went for so long without exploring my art practice. So yeah, I don't know what to say really. Okay, so my mixed media painting, for me, I think that could mean different things to different people, but for me, at the minute, I love combining, well, for me, I think I was very conscious of when I got back into painting that I felt nervous and I felt like I wasn't good enough, and I was just like, you know, I wasn't a real artist, and I had a lot of imposter syndrome and things. So one thing that I found helps me is to just be able to play with my materials and really explore different ways of like applying art, making marks and having fun with it. So this is sort of lended itself to mixed media because so what I do is I often combine different layers of different kinds of paint. So if I'm working on wood, which I really like working on, because wood's quite strong and you can be quite rough with it, I will put down like a watercolour ground, which then means you can paint watercolours or watered down acrylics on. And I might have like lots of fun with really watery marks. This piece here, this isn't finished, but it's a work in progress. But I've started off with, I think some watercolour or acrylic at the bottom, and I tried some like watercolour crayons and stuff, these really chunky, lovely big watercolour crayons, to create different marks and textures. And I didn't want to have the finished image in sight. I think it's that thing of the fear of the final piece being like perfect. So I just wanted to find my joy in the moment and try to really enjoy being present in the moment, enjoy the experience, which I really hope then translates to the viewer later on. I thought I was happy with it, but I've had it on the wall for a bit and I just want to add one or two things to it. And I thought this might be good to show you what it's like working on dry. So I said before how this has got it originally had watercolour. And then I've been over the top with layers of oil and cold wax. A lot of the clouds are the sort of smudgy, mergery sort of marks I made using things like this. But now I just want to add a little bit more of these dark marks coming through to kind of really make it feel like there's some rain coming down on you, really heavy. So I really love how around here the weather changes so quickly. Sometimes there might be some sunshine in the distance somewhere, but there's like a massive dark cloud on top of you. So first of all, I just need to mix up a really good black, which is it's kind of hard to do, but I really enjoy it. So I'm just thinking it through a little bit more. So I tend to have a period of time where I'm super just letting go and making marks in whatever ways I can think about. And then I kind of stand back and I think about what's important to me in the composition, what I want to keep, what I don't want to keep, and what I'm intending to communicate to the viewer. So this is a very instinctive piece and it was done from memory. It's actually the view of where we are now. So this is Crossroads and this is where we're around here. And it's from the view of where my parents-in-law live, on the other side, going out towards Stanbury. And I just noticed so wow, and I spend a lot of time there, so I've been thinking a lot about it and how the weather changes and the light across the valley. But often I might be working from like a reference photograph. I might be wanting to paint something that I've seen in town. I spent a lot of time there. I might have done atmosphere that I want to get across to people, the kind of feeling that I want. But I might use a reference photograph to just help me there might be often when I'm walking around, if the light suddenly changes in a second, I just want to capture that moment where the light's a certain way. It might have just been sprayed out when it hit something and it's all scattered, or it might be really dappled. And it can be really important to get certain things in the composition right so that you can express that. Right now, I'm just enjoying painting so much. It's like I don't, there's so much you can explore within just that one subject, in terms of I could, you know, spend all day just mixing colours, and sometimes I spend a lot of time just looking, going out into the environment. I might go into town, I might go into the hills, and, you know, I spend a lot of time just getting to know the places that I love and that I want to try and capture. So I might not be physically painting all the time, but, you know, I've thought about other things. Like I said earlier on, like I'm interested in animation, but the majority of my time at the minute is just exploring painting. I mean, there's like so many different ways you can use it. I've got loads of random materials around my studio that I just found objects. I've got old guitar strings. I've got like a rice spatula that has like a kind of interesting texture on it. And I've got like wire wool and physiotherapy balls and all sorts of things that, you know, I'll experiment with different ways of making marks. And I'll have bits of time where I'm just literally exploring different ways of making marks and mixing colours, and then I might then use what I've learned to apply that to something that's a bit more focused. I've started to recently use more photography, so I love painting either from memory or in real life, like out in the environment, painting as I'm there. But in the pandemic, it wasn't really safe for me to be out and about. So I've got a chronic condition now that I have to manage, and I'm steroid dependent, so I've got a weakened immune system. So, you know, I had to sort of be careful. So part of my way of dealing with that was to work from photographs, either go to places when it was really quiet, like first thing in the morning, and take photographs and then bring them back to the sort of safety of my studio. But even though, and I've basically really got into this because I've started to explore the subject of light and how light can suddenly change. And sometimes, you know, there might be a split second where the light's coming through some trees in a certain way, creates some dappled light, or it just sort of comes through the clouds at a certain point, and you just want to maybe have some kind of reference to that moment. I think for me it's really important that I have a connection to the place, so I'll know the place well, I'll have a feel of its environment and how I feel in the space. So I won't like copy photographs directly, but I have started to use photographs more recently, more often, as references. Because I love the countryside and I like getting away from everything. But that's what's so great around here, is you've got everything so close, like side by side, that you can get into the city so quickly, and then the countryside is literally on your doorstep as well. Like, I feel so lucky. I don't know enough other places, but I've lived in London and that was completely different. I feel like at the minute, like I've been focusing on Keighley, but I want to try and like expand and get to know like Bradford more as well. Like I do know Bradford, but not as well as Keighley because I'm like from Keighley, and I feel like it would all link into like other things. And you know what I mean? Like I've been going into Bradford recently, just a bit more often, and it's like, you know, once you start looking, then you really start seeing stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, you know, I'm just seeing things so much more with new eyes at the minute, you know? Going into Bradford and I'm just like, oh my God, like it's just amazing. Yeah, I love seeing other people's, like I love all different kinds of art. Like I feel inspired by, you know, like performance art, installation. I love film. You know, I don't see myself as just a painter at all. It's like right now I'm exploring paint. And when I first went to college when I was younger, and I got to really explore paint properly, like at school I didn't really get the chance, It was like I got so engrossed in it that I started to, in real life when I was out and about, when I looked with my eyes and I saw things like shadows and different way the light hit things, in my head I could see the different colours that made up that shade. So like a shadow, you know, there's different colours that bounce off objects to make a shadow the tone that it is. And in my head, it was like I was so in tune with the paint that's how I saw everything. So I really got quite obsessed as a teenager. And I feel like now I'm kind of getting back into that zone again, because I feel like I'm rediscovering it all again as an adult.